keeping track of various activities from birth to death is called life cycle. Is called what? Life cycle. Now listen. Who will take care of servlet component life cycle, guys? Servlet container takes care of servlet component life cycle. Servlet component life cycle. By raising how many life cycle events, guys? By rising, tell me, by rising 3 life cycle events. By rising how many life cycle? I will link with Spring also, don't worry. By rising 3 life cycle events and calling three life cycle methods. Calling 3 life cycle methods for those life cycle events. Are you understanding my statement? Tell me what are those events, guys? Instantiation event. What is that event, guys? Instantiation event. When it will be raised? Rises when servlet container creates servlet component class object. Yes or no? No? Tell me what is the life cycle method? What is the life cycle method? Public void init servlet config cz. I think everyone remembered all this stuff. I'm just trying to revise, boss. This is life cycle event. This is life cycle method. Okay. What's the second one? What's the second one? Request processing event, guys. Request processing event. When it will be raised, guys? Rises when servlet container keeps servlet component class object ready. Servlet component class object ready to process request. Ready to process request. Ready means what? Completing instantiation and initialization. Come on. Completing instantiation and initialization. Once instantiation and initialization is completed, it is ready for processing request or not? Come on, guys. Okay. Then what event will be raised? Request processing event will be raised. At that time, what is the lifecycle method that will be executed, guys? Public void service. Servlet request REQ, comma, servlet response RES. Servlet request, servlet response. throws servlet exception comma IO exception. Tell me, second service method, do triplex method, they look like lifecycle method, but do you really think they are lifecycle methods? No, they are supporting methods for service method. Come on, guys. Right. Lastly, what is next? Last one. Destruction event was. Tell me when this event will be raised. Rises when servlet container is about to destroy our servlet component class object. After destroying or about to destroy. This event will be raised after destruction or before destruction. This event will not be raised after destruction. Will be raised when object is about to destroy. About to destroy. Next activity is destruction only. Still not destroyed. Next activity is destruction only. Come on, guys. Public void destroy method. So these are the three life cycle method that servlet component is having, boss. Come on. Now tell me, who manages Spring Bean life cycle? IOC container. Spring container, IOC container. Okay, now tell me guys, Spring Bean is a invasive class or non-invasive class? Invasive class or non-invasive class? Type Rababu, type non-invasive. No need of writing entire thing, just write shortcuts. Non-invasive. Non-invasive means what? Is there any guarantee Spring Bean will implement any interface? Is there any guarantee Spring Bean will extend from class? No. No. So is there any chance of having fixed methods in Spring Bean? Is there any chance of having fixed method in Spring Bean? Are you getting my point there? So that's why when you want to make some methods as lifecycle methods, we have to explicitly specify them or not. Sindhu, recollect initial days, invasive, non-invasive. If your Java class is tightly coupled with the API, technology or framework API, then it is called invasive. Not tightly coupled, then it is called non-invasive. Initially, we discussed a lot. If your Java class is implementing Spring API interface or extending from Spring API class, then it is called as invasive. No, not doing that. Then it is called non-invasive. Spring supports non-invasive. Struts is a invasive programming. Other day we have given example also. Joining in the company with bond is invasive kind of programming. Joining company without bond, non-invasive. Recollect? Okay, guys. Now listen. Servlet component is invasive. Invasive. That means it must implement okay guys, it must implement, that means it must implement Java X dot servlet interface. So servlet component, since servlet component is invasive, that means it must implement Java X dot servlet interface. So servlet component is having Okay, fixed lifecycle method names. Fixed lifecycle method names. Agree with me, guys? Servlet component is invasive or non-invasive? Can we develop servlet without implementing Java X.servlet interface directly or indirectly? Directly or indirectly, definitely servlet interface should be implemented or not. Okay, that's why in servlet component we are having fixed lifecycle methods. Lifecycle method names are fixed. Are you observing it? But can we develop Spring Bean as invasive, boss? Every time there is a guarantee of developing Spring Bean as invasive? No. So can we think about having fixed lifecycle methods in Spring Bean, guys? No. No. So whatever lifecycle method you want to take, you have to explicitly tell to container, hey container, take these two methods as lifecycle methods. These three methods as lifecycle method. These four methods as lifecycle methods. But Spring Container is ready to take how many methods as lifecycle methods? Basically, Spring Container is ready to take two lifecycle methods. Because Spring Bean is not a web component to process request, guys. Spring Bean instantiation will be there. That's why instantiation event related lifecycle method. Spring Bean destruction will be there because IOC container destroys Spring Bean class object, especially singleton scope object. So there will be destruction event. That means in Spring Bean lifecycle, three lifecycle events are there or two lifecycle events are there. Only two lifecycle events are there. Because Spring Bean is not a web component to take request to process request, guys. Spring Bean is a normal Java class, right? Business methods will be there. No request processing methods will be there. Come on, guys. Each business, multiple business method will be there, and every business method will execute only when you call it. They won't be executed automatically. Got it or not? Servlet is a web component. There is a request. That's why service method is there as a request processing method. That's why in Servlet component you will see three lifecycle method. But Spring Beans are web components, huh? No. Spring Beans are ordinary Java classes, right? That to non-invasive ordinary Java classes. No question of having fixed methods. I hope you are observing this point, guys. Okay, now listen. This point is very important. Spring con- Spring container, also called as IOC container, manages Spring Bean lifecycle. That means that means the birth to death of birth to death, object creation to object destruction of Spring Bean. Spring Bean will be taken care by Spring Bean class, will be taken care by IOC container. IOC container. Now listen carefully. IOC container rises two life cycle events in Spring Bean life cycle. Okay, two life cycle events in Spring Bean life cycle. Okay, they are number one, instantiation event. Instantiation event. Instantiation event. Tell me when it will be raised, guys. This is no, not when you want. Please listen carefully. Rises when IOC container creates a Spring Bean class object and also completes come on guys, also completes injections on that object. This is very important. Not just after creating object, guys, after completing injections on that object, this instantiation event will be raised. Are you listening my statement, boss? Rises when IOC container creates Spring Bean class object and also complete injections on that object. What is the life cycle method, boss? What is the life cycle method? Okay, that life cycle method is called init method. Array, not fixed, boss. Fixed. No fixed name. No fixed name. Are you listening my statement, guys? Init method. Overall, it is called init method. Init is not fixed, boss. Any name you can give. Any name you can give. Are you understanding my point? Okay. Right. Next one. B. Destruction event. Destruction event. Where when it rises, guys, rises when IOC container is about to destroy our Spring Bean class object. About to destroy, not after destruction, when it is about to destroy. Yes. What is the life cycle method here, guys? What is the life cycle method here, guys? Okay. Destroy life cycle method. Again, not a fixed name, guys. Destroy method, no fixed name. Since no name is there, people generally calls it as what? Init method, because related to instantiation event. Destroy method because related to destruction event. Understanding my point? Sir, in the init method, what you do? So you will take your choice method as init method. What logic you will write? What logic you will write? So don't think that initialization logic, guys. Already injections also some kind of initialization logic. Come on, guys. Injections are not like initializations. Injecting values also some kind of initialization only, na boss. Then what logic you write in the init method? We will write two logics in the init method, boss. Number one, to initialize those properties which are not participating in injections. There will be some properties in Spring Bean class on which we don't do injection. We can initialize those properties by using init method or not. Why? Init method executes after all injections. After instantiation and injection, it will execute. If any property is not participating in what injection, we can go for initialization of that property or not. That's the number one. Number two, it can be even used to check whether important properties are injected with required values or not. To check whether important properties are injected with required values or not. Array, other day I said, na, at the rate required is deprecated because same thing we can do in the init life cycle method. Remember that? Same work we can bring the same work is recommended to do through init life cycle method. Yes, that work also we can take. Here we can check whether important properties are injected with required values or not, correct values or not. Are you understanding my statement, boss? Abhishek Singh, for non-participating properties, you can use constructor. But generally, we use constructor for constructor injection now, boss. That's the reason they are asking to use init method. Note, there is no request processing event for Spring Bean lives in Spring Bean life cycle. In Spring Bean life cycle, because in Spring Bean life cycle, because Spring Bean is not a web component, not a web component to process the HTTP request. Not a web component to process the HTTP request. I hope you convinced my dear boss. Okay, now listen. In the init life cycle method of Spring Bean, we generally keep, come on guys, logic to initialize. What guys? Logic to initialize Spring Bean properties that are not participating in dependency injection. Dependency injections. Number 2, logic to check whether, for example, you take DAO, boss. In DAO, data source injection is mandatory or optional, boss? In DAO, data source injection is mandatory or optional? Mandatory. Not there. Better through exception, na? Not there. Better through exception. Suppose I have a age property in my Spring Bean. Okay, injection is compulsory. Age is required. No doubt in that. But that too is as a positive number or negative number? Positive number. Is there any question of having negative age number, guys? Do you allow a negative number as the age value? So this kind of cross verifications better to do init method before using those bean property values in the business logics or not? Yes, logic to check whether important Spring Bean properties are injected with correct values or not. Correct values or not. If not, we will throw exception. If not, we will throw exception. Okay. So that wrong values, so that business logic in business method business methods will not be executed with wrong values. So this is the basic work of init lifecycle method, my dear. This is the basic job that we try to do in the init lifecycle method. Okay, here also I'll say init lifecycle method. Here also I said destroy lifecycle. Nice, boss. Okay, then what logics we write in the destroy lifecycle method? So that is also an important discussion now, boss. In the destroy lifecycle method of Spring Bean, we generally keep. Tell me, guys, what logics we keep in destroy lifecycle method, boss? We generally keep logic to nullify bean properties. Logic to nullify bean properties. Whatever initialized, whatever modified, we try to nullify at the end or not. Logic to nullify. Nullify means if any reference type of bean properties are there, object type of bean properties are there, at the end we try to put the null value, right? Okay. If at all some connectivity with non-Java resources are there, we try to release them or not. Logic to release non-Java resources that are associated with Spring Bean. Are you understanding my point? Okay, guys. Associated Spring Bean. Are you getting my point there, guys? Like closing JDBC connection. Like closing JDBC connection object. Right, boss. This is another work in destroy lifecycle method. Is that clear, guys? Okay. So total how many ways are there to go for Spring Bean lifecycle, boss? Three approaches of implementing Spring Bean lifecycle. We can implement Spring Bean lifecycle in three approaches, guys. Okay. Number one, declarative approach. Okay, guys. Shanmukh, assigning null values is called nullify. Improve your English, ra babu. Without core Java, why do you come to the Spring classes, ra babu? Someone is asking me, what do you mean by nullify? Nullify is nothing but assigning null values. Try to learn core Java properly, my dears. Assigning null values is called nullifying. Suppose int variable is there, assign 0. Float variable is there, assign 0.0. Nullification, basic English wording. Basic English wording, there's nothing great in that. Guys, are you feeling heavy about nullifying bean properties? Nullifying means neutralizing. Whatever changes done, that you neutralize and go back to the original basics. Object type anyway, variable by default holds what? Null value. Again, keep the null value. Nullify the changes means Whatever changes you got it, you remove them and you go for what? Original default values. Come on, guys. English. For English also, if you think heavily, what can I do? Fine. Declarative approach. Lack of core Java knowledge. All these are happening because of lack of. Nullifying bean property also you are not recognizing means you didn't study properly core Java. Sorry to say. Right. Hmm. Test T is equal to null. I'm nullifying T variable there or not. Demo D is equal to null. I'm nullifying it or not. D is equal to new demo of. D is pointing to address of the object. After some time I said D is equal to null. So I'm just nullifying it. Okay. Anyhow, discussion has come. Test T is equal to null. That is not nullification. This is initialization. Come on. T is equal to new test of. This is instantiation. 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 But again I said T is equal to null. This is called nullification. This is called nullification. At least now you got it. After having something back, after having something again keeping this one is called nullification. Okay. Now see, it's not just because of null, guys. Int A is equal to int A is equal to 0. In between A is equal to 30. In between A is equal to A plus 30. So again I said A is equal to 0. This is again called nullification. This is again called nullification. Come on. Declarative approach, guys. Declarative approach. Here, configure Spring Bean lifecycle methods. Spring Bean lifecycle methods using init-method, destroy-method attributes of bean tag. What tag, guys? Bean tag. Not fixed methods now, boss. Whatever method you want to take as init lifecycle method, whatever method you want to take as destroy lifecycle method, you have to configure it for every bean separately by using these two attributes, guys. Okay. So that means declarative means always remember XML configurations. Declarative approach always talks about XML. Okay. Next one, programmatic approach, guys. Programmatic approach. Programmatic approach. Now listen. Make Spring Bean class implementing. Make Spring Bean class implementing to Spring API supplied. Yeah, this approach makes Spring Bean as invasive. Second, there's every approach is having its own advantages and disadvantages. So in different situation, we have to use different approach. So nothing is good, nothing is bad. According to the situation, you have to choose the approach. Okay, na? So that's why. Okay, that's why at the end I will give conclusion. Just listen all the three approaches. Don't come to one conclusion. First one is bad, second one is good, kind of thing. According to the situation, you have to choose the things. Okay. So make Spring Bean class implementing two Spring API interfaces. Implementing two Spring API interfaces. Yes, what is the first one? Initializing bean. What is the first interface? Initializing bean, which gives one method. What is the method? After properties set method. Yeah, this is okay. Alternate. This is like init method, init life cycle method. Init life cycle method. In this approach, init life cycle method logic we will write in what? After properties set. Yes, boss. Next one. Next one. Disposable bean. Disposable bean interface. Here is my destroy method, guys. Okay, this is the destroy life cycle method. Destroy life cycle method. Sir, why it is named as programmatic approach? Why it is named as programmatic approach, guys? Yeah, because we are writing Java code, we are implementing interfaces to add the life cycle methods to Spring Bean, boss. To add, that's why it is called programmatic. Programmatic means Java code. Programmatic approach means what? We always deal with Java code. Now tell me, guys. Tell me. Spring Bean lifecycle methods. Lifecycle methods are lifecycle method names are custom names here. Spring Bean lifecycle method names are custom names here. Okay, observe here. Tell me. Spring Bean lifecycle method names are fixed here. Fixed here. Okay, boss. Next, number 3. Annotation approach. We are going to teach practicals of each approach. Don't worry. Annotation approach. Yes, we are going to work with annotations, boss. This is also Java code, but we are going to write annotations, guys. Okay, boss. Now tell me, guys. Configure init lifecycle method using @post construct. There is an annotation called @post construct annotation, guys. And configure destroy lifecycle method. Destroy lifecycle method using @predestroy. @predestroy annotations. @predestroy annotations. Okay, guys. Now tell me here. Spring Bean lifecycle methods are user defined or predefined here. Here user defined only, because your choice 2 methods you can take, you can configure them as what? Lifecycle methods. That's why here what? Spring Bean lifecycle method names are user defined here. Only here predefined. Why? We are implementing interfaces and interfaces are giving methods. So only here predefined, boss. Remaining all places base. Okay. Total how many approaches are there to develop Spring Bean lifecycle, guys? 3 approaches. Declarative approach, programmatic approach, annotation approach. When to use which approach, I will talk later. So shall we go for declarative approach first, boss? Shall we see the practicals of declarative approach? Okay, first of all, tell me, in the init lifecycle method, what we do, guys? In the init lifecycle method, what we do? We try to initialize leftover properties which are not participating in injection process. At the same time, if any important bin properties are there, which are definitely required in what? Business logic execution, we check whether they are injected or not, and we check whether they are injected with the correct values or not. So indirectly we're going to validate them. Indirectly we are going to validate them. Not all bean properties, at least bean important bean properties we are trying to validate. Are you getting my point there or not? So shall we start the development, boss? Okay, now listen. Tomorrow you have a regular spring class, guys. Spring basics only will be discussed. A regular spring class is there. Okay. But that is at 9 o'clock, not 7 o'clock. Sunday, you please relax. You take it at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, okay? Same meeting ID, same faculty, but timing is 9 o'clock. Tomorrow, Sunday, na? That's why. Monday onwards, as usually 7 a.m. Clear, guys? Okay. Consider EST people. Okay, this Sunday you adjust, guys. Next Sunday onwards, I will consider EST people also. Other timing. This Sunday, please adjust. Okay, guys. Now, everyone, please come back. Meven hyphen archetype hyphen EST people means other countries, boss. Class duration, regular class duration. Sandeep को करने Friday onwards Spring Boot, guys. Friday onwards Spring Boot. Okay. Monday also Spring Basics will continue till Thursday. Friday onwards Spring Boot will be there. Okay, guys. Meven hyphen archetype hyphen quick start. Okay. Now tell me here, what is this? IOC pros 18. IOC pros 18. Spring Bean life cycle. Yes, see the first example carefully, guys. Same example I am going to convert in all three approaches. Okay, first example, very, very important, concentrate. Pros 9, Spring Bean life cycle, declarative approach. Yash Gupta, how can I give printout, right? It's an online class now, boss. When it is online class, why are you expecting on printout when I'm giving digital copy? Ash Gupta, sometimes you don't use your common sense, huh? And taking printout is your responsibility, or my responsibility. Yeah? And moreover, in Zoom classes, how can I give printout to you? I'm living to your common sense, guys. Sometimes you all talk lot of nonsense. com.nt.test. Ash Gupta, now you will take. No, see, how can I give printout in digital environment? Tell me. Okay. I don't know how you universities have given engineering degrees to you people, guys. Really, I'm surprised sometimes. Okay. Right. Here is my pom.xml, guys. Pom.xml, guys. 14. See, I have course material, but time to time that will change. You want latest content or old content? And that too, everything I am typing, I am sharing with you people. Just download and keep in a folder, open it and read it. What is there in that? Great fellows, guys. Okay. Right click. Maven update. Maven update. Please switch off your cameras. Right, come back, everyone, come back. It happens sometimes. Arun Kumar, Arun Kumar, I cannot upload everyday PDF format. Please download and you convert into PDF. Are you understanding, Mr. Arun Kumar? Why are you asking me to do dirty DTP work? Please, you do na. Please, you do on your own. Because it's a dynamic content. Every day I'm giving new content, right? com.nt. If you want to, okay, guys. com.nt.beans. No, you see, listen. You search in the group, guys. Last batch notes is there as PDF. You download and read it. But you want latest content, you have to follow current batch. Okay. com.nt.cfzs. com.nt.cfzs, guys. Okay. Now here you observe this, guys. Here is my class. Yeah, I'm taking POC, boss. Later I will link with project. Don't worry. Voting, checking voting eligibility. Voting, voter verifier. Okay. My class name is what? Voter verifier. This is my Spring Bean class name, guys. Okay. First declarative approach means everything. First declarative approach means what? Everything I want to give in the form of XML, right? Okay, that's why here I am taking some bean properties. Voter means name will be there na, boss. POC, proof of concept. That means not a serious laid application, not a serious project. We are learning only for concept sake. I think so many people join in the middle, not from the beginning. Now they are feeling POC also new terminology. Yeah? Okay, fine. POC means proof of concept. Right, guys. Now tell me here. Private float is or int is your choice. Okay, we'll take float only. What is there in that? Float is. Next, private date, verified date, verification date, guys. Verification date. On which date this verification is done? That one. Java.util.date. Now tell me, in XML level, in XML level, field level injection is available? No. Constructor injection or set injection. Okay, now tell me, all three are compulsory to inject? May not be. When all three are not compulsory to inject, better to go for setter injection or constructor injection? Better to go for setter injection. So that's why I will go for shortcut. Alt Shift S, R and this. Select setters after verification date. Now listen. I'm wantedly not making verification date participating in the injection. I don't want to see that one participating in the injection, boss. Because it's verification date, now that to system date I want to have. I want to initialize on my own. I don't want to get from XML. I don't want to get from IOC container. I want to initialize on my own by using init lifecycle method. Are you listening my statement, guys? Okay. That's why no setter method is taken for it. Okay. Why to make container to create object to assign? I just want to initialize on my own with the system date, guys. Systrace. Here also systrace. Here also systrace. Okay. To confirm whether object is created or not, I'm taking one zero param constructor also. This is purely for our verification. Zero param constructor. Done, boss. Okay. Next. Now I am writing business method. Setter methods for setter injection. Setter methods for setter injection, guys. Yeah. Here is my business method. Public string check voting eligibility. Check voting eligibility. Come on, guys. Check voting eligibility. Tell me, according to Indian Constitution, to vote, how many years are required, guys? 10 years. Devash Pandey will murder you. For 10 years only you have voted. Okay. According to Indian Constitution, you should complete 18 years to go to participating in voting, right? For marriage, for marriage, for marriage, boy 21 years, girl 18 years, right? What is the signal they are sending to nation, boss? Handling a girl is very difficult compared to choosing a leader, right? That's why boy has to wait another 3 years to handle a girl. But choosing a leader is very easy. That's why at the 18 years only you got eligibility to choose a leader, but you cannot handle a girl. Okay, boss. Right. Fine. It's a just joke, boss. Okay. Don't take it seriously. Girls, don't take me wrong. It's a just joke. Okay. Fine. Mm. Yeah. To understand a girl, to handle a girl, 50 years also very less age, or 70 years also very less age. No doubt in that. Okay. Right, guys. Now tell me here. Age less than, if age less than 18, age less than 18, tell me here, written, here I want to write a message. Mr. Miss, Mr. Miss, Mrs. Mr. Miss, Mrs. Come on. Okay. Mr. Miss, Mrs. Name. You are not eligible for voting. Not eligible for voting. Wait, 18 minus A's. Wait, 18 minus A's years. Okay, A to vote, to cast your vote. I'm just writing some business logic, boss. Nothing else. Don't worry. Else. Okay, guys. Tell me here, boss. Devash Pandey, we can call teenager as Miss and Miss, Mr. Boss. Teenagers we can call as Miss and Mr. Master means below 10 years. Mr. Miss name, you are eligible for voting. Eligible for voting. Okay, don't wait. Don't wait. Yes, everyone should cast weight. That is a basic principle of democracy, na boss. That's why. Right. Right now, no life cycle methods are taken, guys. I'm just configuring this Spring Bean. Without life cycle method, drawbacks, let me show. What is the problem? Here is my Spring Bean life cycle, guys. Oh, it's not coming. Spring Bean configuration word is not coming. How come? Yes, Spring Bean configuration, boss. Here is my application context.xml. Here is my application context.xml. Okay, I think jars are not added. No problem. Take any previous project or I can add it. Okay, fine. So it's a 2 minutes work. We'll add the jars. mvnrepository.com. I think basic jar is enough, guys. No database connectivity, nothing. Context support, basic jar is sufficient. Copy this, say paste. Go to pom.xml. I hope everyone settled with Maven. Maven is easier now. You're taking benefits of Maven or not? Maven takes bit time to digest, guys. Once you digested, nothing is there in the Maven. It's all about copy pasting the jars. It looks like we are working with a lot of XML, but we don't type much XML. all copy paste. When you open pom.xml, we'll feel, oh, so much XML is there, how to write. But fact is, we don't write much XML. We always copy paste. Because we just play with the dependency section there, anyhow, copy paste is there, right? Yes, guys. Spring Bean configuration. All tools are like this, guys. When you heard them, they look very big. When you start practicing, they become easy. And that we are going to use every day, na, it becomes very, very easy for us. Okay. Voter, guys. Class is equal to voter verifier. Voter verifier. Okay, voter verifier. Class name is very. Achha, this is different. Different. Voter verifier. We got it, boss. Now tell me. Even though there are 3 properties, I enabled injection only on 2 properties. Name is equal to first name. Value is equal to Raja. Age value is equal to some 30. Super. Alright, now it is a normal application. Still I have not added life cycle. I will add it. So now come to client application. Come to client application. Right click. Class. Spring Bean life cycle test, guys. Spring Bean life cycle test. Cool, guys. Spring Bean life cycle test. Here I am going to create IOC container. Yes, guys. Class path XML application context. CTX is equal to new class path XML application context of com/nt/efz/ application context.xml. Get Spring Bean object. Voter verifier. Voter verifier. Voter is equal to ctx dot get bean of, what is the bean id guys? Voter verifier dot class. Voter verifier dot class. Next, what is last one? Invoke method. Here is my try block guys. Here is my try block. Actually, I'm calling the business method, nothing else. Okay, super. Sys out voter dot check eligibility. Catch block guys. Exception e, if any problem comes, that will be displayed. Print stack trace. Right. Close container. ctx dot close. Close container ctx dot close. Now you run the application. 30 years, name is Raja. Mr. Raja, you are eligible for voting, don't wait. Output is coming or not coming? Okay, now you come here. I have given minus 30. Actually, minus 30 is allowed, boss. Minus 30 is allowed. Wait 48 years to cast your vote. Array, is there any meaning in this line, boss? Okay. Now listen. I said 0 years. 0 years. Is there any meaning of writing 0 years, guys? Are you observing meaning? Okay. Moreover, I have commented this property tag. Name is not there. Age is given properly 10 years. Now tell me, still my application is running. Is there any sense in this application, guys? Mr. Null, you are not eligible for waiting. See, I want to see name and age mandatory. That too with correct values. Not only mandatory, that too they should give valid values. So it's better to, do you think injection is verifying all the things? No, injection is busy just injection. Injection is just busy assigning values. Correct or wrong or right or not, it is not checking. So before business logic, better to verify all these things or not. Before business logic, better to verify all these things or not. Are you understanding my point? Puli Tirupati Reddy, in constructor injection, whether properties are configured or not will be checked, but correct values are configured or not will be checked. No. Constructor injection also does not solve this problem. So that's the reason we go for init lifecycle method. Come on. Someone says instead of setter injection, go for constructor injections. Are constructor injection also checks whether both properties are configured or not for injection. But does it check correct values are configured or not? Does it check valid values are configured or not? Does it check valid values are configured or not? Certainly not. Okay, boss. Now that's why what we do is, Devash Pandey, when injection is happening through setter method, how can you write verification logic in the constructor? You use common sense. Injection is happening through setter method. Setter method executes after constructor. How can you write validation logic? You cannot write validation logic in the constructor when injection is happening through setter method, na boss. Use your common sense. Injection may happen through constructor, injection may happen through setter method, right? So it's better to write that kind of verification logic in the init lifecycle method or not. Now tell me, guys. I am taking public void myinit. Yeah, you cannot take your choice signature. It should be, method is your choice, but signature is should be like this only. For init lifecycle method, signature should be like this only. Public void your choice name, no parameters also. No parameters also. It should be like this only. Then only it is ready to become init lifecycle method. But method name is your choice. You can give X, you can give Y, you can give Z. Okay, guys. Now here you observe systrace. Okay, custom init method. It is also called as custom init method. Here, let's see. First of all, let me initialize those properties which are not initialized in the injection, which are not participating in the injection. Verification date. First task I am doing. New date of. Okay, guys. Verification date, new date of. Tell me. Okay. Initializing bean property, that is not participating in injections. That is not participating in the injection. Fine. Next, validation, guys. What is the validation? If name double equal to null, if name double equal to null, or is less than or equal to 0, name double equal to null, or is less than or equal to 0. Yes, then what should I do? Throw new illegal. I don't want to allow going further. I want to stop execution. Illegal argument exception. Throw new illegal argument exception. Invalid inputs are given for name comma age properties. That's it. Name comma age property. This is what, guys? Any place you can place, but this is init lifecycle method, also called as custom init method. So when you have done this, we should think about even doing what? Destroy method or not? Destroy lifecycle method also. Okay. Now I can take here also. I can take here same signature, guys. My destroy. Here also I will write systrace. I am nullifying. Name is equal to null. Age is equal to 0. Verification date is equal to null. And I am nullifying the bean properties, guys. Nothing else. At least now I understood what is nullification of bean properties. Because right now no non-Java resources to release, guys. Nullifying bean properties. Now listen. You run the application. Still -10 is given. Still -10 is given. You run the application. Observe, still it is giving 28 years. -10 is taken. So you have done hard work, but it is not reflecting. Okay. Array, how does it know only those two methods are life cycle method? Somewhere you have to mention those methods as life cycle methods, na? Setter methods are there, business method is there, init is there, destroy is there. But how does it know only those two methods should be taken as life cycle method? Because Spring Bean is not a invasive to have a fixed life cycle methods. Come on, guys. Since the Spring Bean is not a invasive class, there is no question of having fixed life cycle methods. So in declarative approach, every life cycle method should be explicitly configured. See this init- method, my init. No need of writing brackets. Destroy hyphen method. Okay, my destroy. No need of writing brackets. You must remember and configure. Now you observe, guys. Ankar, you cannot take multiple init methods. It's your mistake. Yeah, now listen, we are getting exception or not. Bean creation exception, guys. What is illegal argument exception? Invalid input values are given for name comma age properties. Name comma age properties. Ankar is asking one question. Sir, I want to give multiple init method. First of all, tell me what is need of multiple inputs, guys. Multiple init method what? Tell me how many time instantiation event is raised one time. How many method it looks for only one method. Okay, there is no possibility of taking multiple init method, multiple destroy method. For every bean, we can have only one init method, one destroy method. Is that clear, guys? Okay, so now I have given correct input. Now I have given correct input, guys. Spring Bean life cycle test. Now output is coming or not? How can you prove that leftover property is injected? Leftover property is initialized. Okay, very simple. On verification date. Here also, don't wait. On verification date. I'm just trying to display verification date. Verification date. Verification date. Now you observe Spring Bean lifecycle test, guys. Yes. Saturday, May 15th is injected or not? Saturday, May 15th is injected or not injected? Yes, boss. I think you understood this point. Okay. So now let me write some points related to declarative approach, guys. Declarative approach was declarative approach. This is our heading. Here, Spring Bean can be invasive, your choice. Invasive or non-invasive. Here no restriction because we are explicitly configured lifecycle method, right? Can be invasive or non-invasive. Invasive or non-invasive class. Okay. We must take Spring Bean lifecycle methods. Methods having the following signature. The following signature. Having the following signature. Yeah, what is that signature, guys? Public void method. No param. Same thing, boss. Next one. Okay, every yeah. In one Spring Bean configuration, we can have only one init method, only one init method, and one destroy lifecycle methods. One init lifecycle method, one destroy lifecycle method. In one Spring Bean configuration, we can have only one init lifecycle method and one destroy lifecycle method. Are you observing my statement, boss? Okay, boss. Now listen. Here, one init by the. But one more thing you observe was, sir, I don't close container. I don't close container. Now you observe, destroy is not executed. Did you observe that destroy init is now executing? Did you observe init is executing? That too, init is executing after all injections. Did you notice it? Instantiation, injection. Come on. Instantiation, injection, then init lifecycle method. After that, giving bean object and all this stuff. And we are executing business logic. But when I don't call ctx.close method, destroy lifecycle method is not executed. Are you noticing it, boss? Okay, guys. Now, what you have to observe is, okay, we must call ctx.close method. You must call ctx.close method explicitly to make IOC container to destroy singleton scope Spring Bean class objects. Singleton scope Spring Bean class object. Array, when container is no more, why it will maintain Spring Bean class objects? Why it will maintain Spring Bean class objects? Are you understanding my statement, boss? And moreover, destroy lifecycle method will execute only for singleton scope, boss, not for prototype scope. Why? Prototype scope won't be there with container, right? Scope is equal to prototype. Observe, scope is equal to prototype. Though I am calling ctx.close, init method executes happily, but destroy method is not executing. Why? Why? Where prototype scope bean objects will be maintained by IOC container internal cache. No. So when not there, how it will destroy? When not there, how it will be destroyed? When object is there with container, then it will be destroyed. When object is not there with container, it cannot be destroyed. Are you noticing it, boss? Right, guys. Another note. Destroy lifecycle method executes on the destruction of Spring Bean class object only for singleton scope Spring Bean. Only for singleton scope Spring Bean, not for other scopes of Spring Bean. Not for other scopes of Spring Beans. because only singleton scope bean, singleton scope, Spring Bean objects, Spring Bean class objects will be maintained in the IOC containers internal cache. In the IOC containers internal cache. I hope you got the clarity, boss. Come on. I hope you are understanding my statement, guys. Okay. Right. So now let me give this code, guys. Let me give this code to you people for your practice purpose, for your reference purpose. Here is my example application. Yes. Here is my example application. Voter verifier.java. Purna, you are not a regular student. Sai Panindra, you are not a regular student. Why? Because this fellow is asking SVN URL, this fellow is asking Big Bucket URL. Both came in the middle. Please contact admin people to collect the URL. Someone saying SVN, someone saying Big Bucket. Am I using both, guys? Please don't join in the middle don't join in the middle. Try to attend classes from the beginning. Fine. Great fellows, guys. Okay. Sonu Gupta, if you are using a Bean Factory container, Sonu Gupta, if you are using Bean Factory container, there is a method destroy singletons. There is a method called destroy singletons. You have to call that method factory.destroy singleton. Let me give that point also. While working with Bean Factory container, Praveen, Google Classroom is giving problem towards paintbrushes. That's why until we solve the problem, please collect from Facebook only, Facebook group only. While working with Bean Factory container, okay, Bean Factory container, since there is no provision. Is there any method of to close Bean Factory container? There is no provision. There is no provision to close that container. So we need to call what is that? Factory dot destroy singletons method. We have a direct method, guys. Factory dot destroy singletons method. Factory dot destroy singleton method to make IOC container to destroy singleton scope Spring Bean class objects. To destroy singleton scope Spring Bean class objects. I hope you understood that point, guys. Right. Fine. Copy this. Voter verifier.java. First time I will give the code. I'll paste the code because you need a reference code for practice. Reference code to analyze the situation also. First time I will give, don't worry. Right, boss. Here is my application context.xml, boss. Okay, I don't want to present singleton. Okay, scope, prototype, I don't want to present. Copy this. Here is my application context.xml. Here is my application context.xml. Next, lastly, client application. Spring Bean lifecycle test. Here is our client application, boss. Here is our client application. Say paste. Okay, I would like to give the output also, boss. Output. Yes, this is the output. What is most important is init method is called automatically after injection when container is closed. Destroy method is called. When container is closed, destroy method is called. Did you notice that, guys? Come on, everyone. Right. Pros. Advantages of declarative approach, guys. Pros means advantages. Declarative approach. Yes. What is the first advantage? Here Spring Bean can be invasive or non-invasive, right? Here Spring Bean can be invasive or non-invasive. Your choice. Spring Bean can be invasive or non-invasive. Next one. In user-defined classes, we can take custom methods as lifecycle methods. Custom methods as lifecycle methods. Our choice methods as lifecycle methods, guys. Cons means disadvantages. Tell me, guys. We must remember. We must remember and configure Spring Bean lifecycle methods. We must remember and configure Spring Bean lifecycle methods in Spring Bean configuration file. Otherwise, okay. Otherwise, tell me. Otherwise, they will not be executed. Do you think they will be executed, guys? Okay. Do you think they will be executed, guys, if you don't configure them? Okay. Next, one more problem is there. While configuring predefined classes as Spring Beans, while configuring predefined classes as Spring Beans, identifying Spring Bean lifecycle methods are present or not, and configuring them by knowing their names is very difficult, guys. Suppose I have a predefined class, it is having 200 methods, guys. In those 200 methods, I have to find out. Are you understanding my statement, boss? Come on. Are you with me, boss? I have a class with 200 methods. In that one, identifying lifecycle methods are there or not. Difficult. If there, what are those two method names? Is difficult. Come on. Your class, you have taken my init, my destroy. Suppose predefined class Hikari CP connection pool is there. Predefined class XYZ given by Spring people is there. Or third party vendor is there. Is there compulsory they should give lifecycle method? No. They may give, they may not give. If they give, for knowing them is that much easy. Out of 100 methods, so that is very difficult or not, boss. I hope you understood both advantages and disadvantages, guys. Like this, every approach is having its own advantages and disadvantages. In different situation, you have to use different approach. And last, someone asking me one question. Sir, you are not following any order. You are keeping my init in the middle of the, anywhere you place, Ra Babu. Anywhere you place. Who asked this question? Ritesh Kumar Nayak. It is going by order, it is going by event, boss. Mr. Ritesh, you kept this method as a first method. Do you think it will execute first? Come on, guys. Lifecycle methods will not execute by order. Lifecycle method execute based on the event. Even though you kept my destroy method at the beginning, that will be executed at the last only when bean object is about to destroy, right? Shame on you, guys. Shame on you. Asking this kind of question at this stage. Lifecycle method will execute based on the order. Main method execute based on the order. Main method executed so far based on the order. JVM calls, that's why it executed. Servlet lifecycle methods are executing based on the order, based on the event. Okay. Mahesh Kumar, invasive, non-invasive is nowhere related to container. Is nowhere related to container. Okay. First, study basics properly. Invasive, non-invasive is related to whether bean class is implementing Spring interface or not. Whether bean class is extending from Spring class or not. That is important. It's nowhere related to containers. Okay. Jagadish Shahu, I will murder you. Just now I said there is no good approach, there is no bad approach. According to situation, we have to take. And again, you are asking the same question. That means you are not at all in the classroom. Every approach is having its own advantages and disadvantages. According to the situation, you have to take. Either listen class completely or otherwise stop coming to classes. Guys, did I say which approach is good, which approach is bad? Did I say that statement or what I said? Wait till the end, we analyze in which situation, which approach has to be used. People are not putting 100% concentration. Okay. Life cycle methods will not be executed based on their order of availability. They will be executed based on the events raised by underlying container. Based on the events raised by underlying container. Init method at the end, guys, but that will be executed first. Why? First instantiation, then other things will happen, right? Come on. Basics are very weak, boss. Okay. Mahesh Kumar, in declarative approach, I configured one predefined class given by Spring, and that is implementing Spring specific interfaces. Can't we say invasive? Can't we say invasive? That time, but still we can identify lifecycle method and we can configure. Come on, boss. I'm configuring Spring supplied predefined class as Spring Bean. For example, driver manager data source only. So I found two lifecycle method, I configured it. So don't you think it's invasive? Definitely. Okay, guys. So our stereotype annotation word is specific Spring terminology. Specific to Spring. When they are there to configure Java class as Spring Bean, why they will be there in other framework? Now, man, again you are not using your common sense. What is the basic work of? Everyone look at the question asked by Nauman. What is the basic purpose of stereotype annotation? To configure Java classes as Spring Beans, right? So why they will be there in other framework? And why other framework will have Spring Beans? Basic logical thinking you are missing, guys. It's lack of fundamentals. Please put your fundamentals right. Thank you, guys. We'll meet tomorrow. Tomorrow at 9 o'clock we have a class. Purna Chandrasekhar, collect the URL from admin. Admin is responsible to give that. Okay. Kruti, tomorrow class is fixed, guys. I cannot adjust now. Tomorrow class is 9 o'clock. Tomorrow class is 9 o'clock. Okay. Govardhan Reddy, go to the URL. There will be option to download the zip file. You will get it. Tomorrow logins are same. Tomorrow everything is same, guys. Timing is 9 o'clock. Thank you. Have a nice time. I'll commit the code also.